Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel Programming Knowledge. And in today's video, we are going to start a new software that is known as the Adobe Illustrator. Now the question comes, what is Adobe Illustrator? So Adobe Illustrator is a software that is a part of the Adobe Creative Cloud committee, and it is used to draw the vector graphics. Now these vector graphics can be applied in a variety of formats like the icons, logos, posters, banners, etc. So whatever basic art that you need to draw using computers can be drawn with the help of Adobe Illustrator, and whatever the drawings that we get through it are known as vectors. So this is the video in which we are going to introduce some of the basic and important features which will help you get started with Adobe Illustrator. So let's start on this tutorial. First of all, whenever you open your Adobe Illustrator, you will find this kind of a screen in front of you, which is basically asking you to create a new document. Now from here you can just choose the different kinds of templates. Like it provides you some mobile presets. Then there are some of the web options, which is basically depicting a web page dimensions. Some print options, which are a letter size paper and A4 paper, legal paper, etc. Film and video options like HDTV in 720, in 1080, width, and so on. Then there are art and illustration option like a postcard or a poster. So if you want to just follow any of these things, you can select any of the preset from here. Apart from that, there are also some of the templates available. So if you want, you can just select some of these templates as well. Here you can see a bunch of templates, artboard. So what I have done is I have taken a custom width of 100 pixels and a height of 100 pixels as well. From here you can just select your points. From here you can just choose your height and width options, the orientation, and the number of the artboards that you require. Also you can just change the bleed options from here, like if you can just increase it to a 1 pixel or a 0 pixel and so on. Then when you are happy with it, just click on create, and as soon as you do that, you will find that this is your artboard that has been created, and you can just zoom in and out of it by simply pressing the Control and the minus key on your keyboard like this. And you can just also zoom in by Control plus. So that's what it works like, zoom in and zoom out repeatedly, just like this. When you just get your artboard, you will find that here is the tool panel, here is the menu bar, and this is your current working area with the zoom percentage being set over here. And from here you can just navigate to your artboards, which is an artboard navigation menu. Since we have only one artboard, so we can just not use this option as of now. You can also navigate with these scroll bars over here, and here are some of the properties that depict the particular selection. Now if we just go to the file, here are some of the basic options whose usage we will see in detail in the upcoming tutorials. Then there are edit options whose usage will be depicted in detail as we move on with our tutorials. The important thing to note here is in window you will find an option called Workspace. Now there are these certain options that you can just choose from. At present, Essentials is being selected, so if I just select this automation, then as soon as I do that, you can see that my layout of the screen changed, and this is exactly what the Workspace do. It just changes the layout so that you can just select the layout as per your wish or as per your current requirement. Now what I'm going to do is just select this Essentials back, and this is what I'm happy with, and I usually work on this only, but you can choose the Workspace that suits your interests the best. Apart from this window menu can also be used to add these kind of things. Like if you want to align this, you can just click on it and you will see this align tab, which comes with a collection of a transform tab, a Pathfinder tab as well. And if you want, you can just close it as well. You can also just click on appearance, and this appearance tab will be here. You can just navigate it to any place else. You can minimize it, maximize it as per your choice. Now if we just go to view, here are some of the basic options that we get, like we can zoom in, we can zoom out, which is definitely more handy with the shortcut keys. You can fit artboard to the window. That means your artboard would be aligned in your perfect view area. You can fit all in window. That means if there are multiple artboards, then only it would work. Apart from that, you can just hide the edges. You can show the edges. You can hide the artboard like this, so it won't be visible. That gray area you used to see is not visible. You can just show this artboard like this. Now if you want, you can just add some of the rulers here, like you can show these rulers. So from here it would be able to help you to measure anything. You can also show a transparency grid like this. You can hide this transparency grid. You can also add some of the guides like this. You can draw these guides from the rulers, and once you have drawn the guides, if you want to lock them, you can just go to view, guides, and lock the guides. So these would be locked. And if you want to change them, you can just unlock the guides from here. You can just change its position like this. And if you want to clear these guides, you can just click on clear guides like this. Alright. And this smart guides option that is turned on is used to tell you the distance between two things. Like if I draw this rectangle, you can see that this pink line that is scaling on its diagonal, it is a kind of a smart guide. Now if I just leave it here and try and draw another rectangle from here, so you can see another line that is connecting the center of this rectangle. It is also a result of a smart guide. Now if we just go to view again, you can also show the grids, which will again help you in adding or creating your illustrations over here. And then it is the effects menu. From effects you can just add these different effects. Now this shape is selected, so you can just make it a 3D. Okay, now you can see that as soon as this preview is turned on, so this shape turned into a 3D shape, and we can manipulate these values from here and just take a look at it right now. And that's how all these effects could be applied to this particular shape. These are the different effects that could be applied easily. If you want for a selection tool, you can just go to select. All the shapes that are active on the artboard would be selected, and these kind of selections. Then it's the case of type, which is basically used to set the fonts in text. Whenever we are typing the text and we want to set the fonts, then we can set the fonts from here. We can just choose our recent fonts, we can change its size and so on. Then there is an object menu, which basically works on the object and helps to navigate it, to manipulate it in a better fashion. Now one important usage of it is that if I just draw, I have got these two rectangles now, and if I just select both of them, okay, now I have selected both of these rectangles, I can go to object and select on group. Then these two would be grouped together and moved simultaneously. Similarly, I can go to object and ungroup them. I can lock them so that they won't be moving anywhere, and I can unlock it, I can hide it, I can unhide it or show it. And these are the kinds of the things that we can do with object, but still its detailed explanation would be explored in the upcoming tutorials, and that's the same with edit and file as well. Now if we just come on to our toolbar, then first of all we have got a selection tool, which is obviously used to select these things. Then we have got this direct selection tool, which is used to select a particular point of coordinate. Now if we can just come back to this particular shape, you can see that I have picked up this single vertices of this particular rectangle using the selection tool. So that's what it works is. Alright, now if I just go back to my selection tool and try to select the single vertices, no, that's not possible. That's the work of the direct selection tool. Then we have the pen tool that is just used to make these random shapes like this. And then we have this curve tool that is used to make a curvy kind of a thing. Curved lines, whenever you want to make them, you can just use this curve tool. So that's a kind of a circle that I've made. Now then there is a type tool. From here you can just enter any text. Suppose I have written, okay, so I have written programming knowledge, and as soon as I do that, you can see here that this text panel has been opened. From here I can just change this font family, I can change its size, and alright. Now then there is a line tool that is basically used to create a line like this, another line like this. Now while this line tool is selected, you can just select these three kind of fills for this line, which is a solid color fill, a gradient fill, or a none. So I'm selecting the solid color fill, and from here you can even change its color. This is the color palette. So I have chosen this blue color, and as soon as I do that, and yes, so this is selected like this. Same thing is with the shape, that is we can select a solid color, a gradient, or a no fill, and as the stroke is concerned, we can select these three things in the stroke as well. So if you want, you can just keep a gradient for the stroke as well. Then using this rectangle tool, you can just draw a rectangle, or you can just click on this small arrow kind of thing over here, and these are the different kinds of shape tools which you can select from. And if you want, you can just convert it to a tab like this as well, to just grab onto any of the tools like this. The work of the rotate tool is, suppose I have selected this shape and grab onto this rotate tool, then this point of rotation is set by default. If I want, I can just change this point of rotation. So I have kept this rotation point over here. Now if I just rotate my tool, my shape, so this shape would be rotated about that axis. Now we have a scale tool using which we can scale up or down our object with reference to its axis or the point where its center is lying, and if we just put it on a center, then it would be done like this. This similar effect could be achieved by just grabbing on the selection tool and pressing on the shift key like this. Then all these tools we have, this is a color picker tool that is used to pick a particular color. Since I clicked on this, so it has no stroke, that's why the stroke of this particular shape that was selected has been removed. Alright, so this is a hand tool which can be used to navigate here and there, and works best when we have zoomed in into our artboard like this using this magnify tool. We are going to create this vector. So this is a very simple vector, and that is why we have chosen this in our first tutorial. But you are going to learn a variety of concepts in creating this vector. The most important one being the use of this shape builder tool, which is going to help you in creating the different kinds of vectors in Adobe Illustrator. So let's get started. For this, what you need to do is first open up your Adobe Illustrator and then press Ctrl N to bring up this panel. This is basically the same thing that you get when you click on a create new tab. So I have selected this A4 preset for my vector, but you are free to choose any preset that you like. Then I'm going to rename it as vector 1, and the rest of the settings I'm going to keep the same. Then I'm going to click on create, and as soon as you do that, you will see that your artboard is in front of you. Now what I'm going to do is just go to this artboard tool and change the size of this artboard. Go back to your selection tool and press Ctrl 0 on your keyboard. Now as soon as you do that, you will see that your artboard has fitted your visibility area, and that's exactly what we need. Now for the infinity logo, what we are going to do is just grab onto our ellipse tool and draw an ellipse by pressing on the shift key to make a perfect circle instead of an ellipse. Once you are happy with the size, you can just go to this window into the menu bar and select on this align. Now align it horizontally at the center. Now while your object or this circle is selected, go to edit. Here you will find an option of copy whose shortcut is a simple Ctrl+C, so you can just click on it. Go to edit and here you will find an option of paste in place. So you gotta select this paste in place. What will it do? It will paste that copied object onto the same place as that of the previous object. Now if we just paste it anywhere else, then you can see that it has been pasted over here. So that's not what we needed. So I'm just going to delete it. And here if you see, there are these two circles that have been created. So we have to resize it, but by pressing on the shift and the alt key together. Now when we pressed our shift and alt key while resizing our circle, you can see that it resized similarly across all the dimensions, and its center also coincided with the center of the bigger circle, making two concentric circles. And this is exactly that what we needed, and that is why we used the shift and alt key. Now what we are going to do, since we have already copied this circle over here, so we are going to edit and select this paste in place option once again. Then I'm going to right click over here, go to arrange and select the send to back option. Make sure that this smaller circle is visible. Then again I'm going to resize this circle by pressing on the shift key. This time I have not pressed on the alt key while resizing my circle. Now I'm going to rearrange this circle. Okay, now after the rearrangement, this is the kind of position for this circle that we wanted, and this is exactly that what you need to do. You have to press the shift key and change its dimensions and then rearrange it so that it intersects with this smaller circle over here and with this larger circle over here. Then select on the circle, press Ctrl+C to copy it and Ctrl+Shift+V to paste it in place, and just change its direction or position to here. What I'm going to do now is select all of my circles together and select their fill as none so that their boundaries are visible. Then just again copy this circle and again press Ctrl+Shift+V to paste it in place and arrange its position like this. Now this is the kind of the matrix that we wanted. Now what I'm going to do is just press Ctrl+Y on the keyboard to bring up this kind of matrix. This is the matrix of the circle without any formatting. Now you gotta make sure that all these circles are intersecting well. You can just zoom in and check these intersection points. These intersection points are very important. Once you have checked them, you can just press Ctrl+0 for this default zoom percentage and again Ctrl+Y to bring up this shape again. Then just select all of them, right click and select on this group. Now all of these are grouped. If you just select one shape, then all of these shapes would be selected. Then press Ctrl+C to copy them and Ctrl+Shift+V to paste them in place and drag this new shape over here like this. Now you can just select this shape, right click and select on this ungroup option. Now we are going to make use of our shape builder tool. So for that, select all of your drawings, then grab on this shape builder tool. Now you can see that these areas are being selected individually. So what we are going to do first of all is come to this smallest circle and by pressing on the alt key just click on it. This will deduct this smaller circle area from this whole circle, and again you got to press the Alt key and click on it. This will again deduct this whole area of this smaller circle from this bigger circle. Now what we are going to do is just drag these shapes together, and these shapes would be grouped together like this. So this is the work of the shape builder tool. This is one shape that we have got, and now I'm going to include in this thing as well into this shape. So this is what I'm happy with. This is one shape. This is going to be my other shape, so I'm just going to drag it like this. Now on pressing the Control and 0, we have got our basic shape like this. Now what we are going to do is just select any one of this shape and apply a gradient from over here. Now you can see that this black and white gradient has been applied, and apart from that, this menu has been opened in front of us. So what we are going to do is just click on this small arrow over here and select this orange and yellow gradient, or if you want we can also select this fading sky gradient. Then double click on this gradient slider and you will find all these color options in front of you. Now you can just choose any two colors or more than two colors for your gradient as per your choice. The sample vector that I showed had the shades of green, so this time I'm going to use the shades of blue. This dark blue, now this is what I have got, and if you want you can just adjust your gradient slider like this, or you can just choose the colors like this. Apart from here you can also choose your gradient to be of a radial type, or just change its angle if you have chosen a linear type. So I'm going to choose an angle of -60 degrees. Now I'm just going to select this second shape and pick on to my color picker tool or the eyedropper tool and select this particular gradient, and then my second gradient or the second shape would be filled with this particular gradient as well, and this is exactly that what I'm going to do with all these other shapes as well. Now the only thing that looks odd is this outlining of my shape, so just select all of your shapes, go to stroke over here and select it to that of that particular gradient with which we filled our shape. So with this our logo or the vector has been created, and as you can see it looks pretty cool to look at. Now if you want you can just select this artboard tool once again and change the size of this artboard so that whatever the vector you have drawn, it completely fits your artboard. We are going to see that how can we create single letter logos. Now for creating these simple single letter logos like these ones over here, all you need to do is follow simple steps. Apart from that you can see that how elegant they look, and you can easily use them as your brand identity. Now these letters could be anything like the first letter of your name or the first letter of your brand name or any other thing. So without taking much of your time, let's see that how can we create the simple single letter logo in Adobe Illustrator. First of all, once you have opened your Adobe Illustrator, go to File and from here select New. Alternatively, you can also press Ctrl N to get this kind of a screen in front of you. Now here I am choosing an artboard with the dimensions of 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels, but that is my choice and you can go with anything that you want. Now I'm going to name it as single letter vector. Now I'm just keeping all these settings the same and just click on create. When you will do that, you will see that your artboard has been created just like this, and its name is shown over here with its zoom percentage. You can change it by going to here and just selecting on this fit on screen option, so you can see that your zoom percentage has been changed to a 64%, and that is the best fit that your artboard can fit on your computer screen. Now to get any letter, as in our sample we showed the letter D, the letter V and the letter A. So what we are going to do is first of all I'm going to show you how you can create a single logo animation for a letter D, and you can just duplicate it for any other letter. So for that, go to this type tool and click anywhere on your artboard. Now you will find something like this. So what I'm going to do is from here I'm going to increase its size to a 72 point so that whatever is written is visible to the eye. Then select all of it and press the letter that you want to be animated. So here I have pressed the letter D. Now just select it and from here just change its size to 1000 point. And as soon as you do that, you will see that your letter size has increased drastically like this, and that's exactly what we wanted. Now what we're going to do is just select on it, but you can see that when you selected on your letter, then this kind of line is visible over here, and this is a letter, not a shape. So now what we need to do for our logo is convert this letter into a shape. So that is a very important step in Adobe Illustrator, but it is easy as a piece of cake. So what you got to do is just come to your letter, right click on it, and here you will find an option of create outlines with its shortcut as Ctrl+Shift+O. So you got to click on it, and as soon as you do that, you will see that the bottom line that was visible has gone, and the selection area has trimmed to the dimensions of your letter. And that is exactly how you can create or convert your letter into your shape. Now this D is not a letter, but it is just like a shape, and it will be treated like an object in Adobe Illustrator, and that's exactly what we wanted. So now what we are going to do is just grab onto the pen tool, and here we are going to draw some random shapes which are intersecting this letter D at some point. Like this, and then join it from here. So this is a shape. This doesn't matter because all we need is only the points where it is intersecting the letter D. So here are these 2 points, these 2 shapes, one over here and one over here, where it is intersecting the letter D. Now you can see that these 2 closed shapes that are formed are the ones that our main point of concern are. So now what we're going to do is just grab onto our selection tool and select this shape, copy it using the shortcut Ctrl+C, and then paste it in the place using the shortcut Ctrl+Shift and V. Now you can just change its position a little bit like this. Now grab onto one shape and shift click on the letter D, then go to window. Here you will find an option of Pathfinder over here, so just select on it. Now make sure that these two shapes are selected, that is one the mark of the pen that you have created and the other is the letter D, then over here in Pathfinder you will find an option called shape modes, and in shape modes this is a second option called the minus front. So just click on it, and as soon as you do that you will see that the shape that you had created and wherever it was intersecting the letter D has been removed from the letter. That's exactly what we wanted. Now just bring this shape downwards like this, and you can just rotate it slightly. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is just grab onto my direct selection tool and adjust its coordinates a little bit. If you want you can zoom in into your shape a little bit, and here you can just adjust these coordinates, and if you want you can just grab onto your pen tool and just delete this coordinate. Alright, so this is what we have got and I'm pretty happy with it. Apart from that you can also see that these two shapes have been divided now, and if you want you can also just select this shape and shift click on this shape, so these two would be selected all together. Then go to Pathfinder. Here you will find an option of merge, so you can merge these two shapes together as well. So now these two shapes would be acting like one single shape, and this shape would be a different one. So once you are happy with your shape or your logo, then you can just select on this shape and change its color to anything that you want. Just double click over here. Here you will find this color option, so you can just choose any color that you want. I'm pretty happy with this shade of dark gray. I have chosen a shade of red, and for this below portion I have chosen a shade of gray. Now if you want you can just select this above portion and increase its stroke width to around 4 points, and just change its color to a darker shade of red itself. And if you want you can just alright, so this is what I'm happy with, and same thing you can do with the stroke of here. So for here what I'm going to do is simply choose a black stroke and increase its width to a 4 point. Now you can see that your single letter D logo has been created, and if you want you can just change its dimensions to anything that you want. Apart from that, using the same technique you can also create logos of different letters. The single letter logos are very simple to create, as you can see. And one more thing, you can just select these both shapes together, right click and go to group. So these would be grouped together and then it would be treated as a logo like this. We are going to see that how can we create this star-like graphic in Adobe Illustrator. As you can see that this graphic or vector is very simple and very elegant. And apart from that, it covers some of the basic features which can be used in effectively creating vectors at the later stages. So let us start. First of all, go to File and just click on this new option. Alternatively, you can also press Ctrl and N to get this kind of a screen in front of your eyes. Then just rename it as star vector. And keeping on the width and height as 1000 pixels each, bleed at 1 pixels, and the orientation of a portrait with one artboard, click on create. And as soon as you do that, you will find that a new artboard has been created in front of you. Now what we are going to do is just create our star, but before that we are going to get some guides so that our star is created with a perfect symmetry. So for that, go to View. Here you will find an option called Guides. So just click on it, and if you find this option called Hide Guides as on, then you do not need to do anything else, and then just go to Rulers and click on this Show Rulers option. Now from these rulers we can easily create out some of the guides. Okay, so this is the star that we have created, and oops. Okay, so just select a black stroke for a time being for our star. Now you can just turn off these guides. So for that you can just go to View, Guides, and click on Clear Guides option. Now just drag this shape over here. Now what we're going to do is just go to Layers, expand it, and lock this particular layer by clicking on over here. Now this will act as a matrix for our star that is going to be created actually. So just grab onto your pen tool and draw some shapes like this. Now for the reference, what we are going to do is just change its color to a shade of green or yellow or red. That's what I'm going to choose. Basically any other color than the background color that we have got. Then just again grab onto your pen tool, again zoom in into your matrix. And yes, so that is the basic shape of the star that we have got. And then what we're going to do is just select both of these shapes and press Ctrl G to group them together. Then just press Ctrl C to copy them and Ctrl Shift V to paste them in place, and then rotate this shape a little bit. Now you can see that we have turned the visibility of our basic star matrix as off. So yeah, this is what it's gonna look like. You gotta arrange it by rotating it a little bit like this so that it perfectly aligns with the shape that we have already created. Alright, so that's exactly what we wanted, and that's what we're going to do with our remaining parts. Okay, so now this is the vector that we have got, and it is a matrix. So what we're going to do now is just select one of these shapes like here, just this shape is what we need to select and not its whole group. So just select this shape, and instead of this blank fill, we are going to fill it with a color, but this time we are going to choose the shades of the color. So just double click over here, and we are going to choose this color with this hexadecimal value. So if you want, you can just copy it, press OK, and for the other half of this shape, we are going to just apply a different kind of a color, the same color, but you can just copy this, just paste this hexadecimal value of the previous color and just apply a darker shade of orange like this and press OK. That's too dark, so if you want, you can just choose a brighter orange. So these are the two shades that I have got, and that's exactly what we are going to do with the rest. That is, just select this particular shape, and using the color picker tool, just pick this particular color. So now I have colored all these stars, so just select all of these shapes together and change their stroke value to a none. Now when you do that, you can see that this is the star that we have created. You can just select it all, press Ctrl G to group all this data together, and now it would be moved together. So this is the star vector that we have created in Adobe Illustrator. We are going to see that how can we create this kind of a floral pattern in Adobe Illustrator. This is the floral pattern which we have created from scratch in Adobe Illustrator, and apart from that, we are also going to learn today that how can we create custom brushes and custom symbols in Adobe Illustrator. Also, we are going to learn the use of two important tools, which is the paintbrush tool, which is present over here, and the symbol sprayer tool, which is present over here in Adobe Illustrator. So without taking much of your time, let's jump into our tutorial. First of all, when you have opened your Adobe Illustrator, go to File and click on New. To create a new artboard for yourself, Now I have taken as usual 1000 by 1000 width and height for my artboard, but it is totally your choice. Now I'm going to rename it as floral pattern because that is the important thing that we are going to create today. Then keeping on rest of the settings as same, click on create. Now first of all what we are going to do is make a custom brush for our floral pattern, and for that what we are going to do is just grab onto our ellipse tool and make an ellipse like this. Make sure your stroke is set to none and the fill is set to a color. Any color, it really doesn't matter at this point. Then what you got to do is grab onto the anchor point tool from the toolbar. If you cannot find your anchor point tool, then you can just go to your pen tool and right click on this small arrow over here. Then at the very bottom you will find your anchor point tool. So just grab your anchor point tool and just click once over here, and you will see that the shape has been changed to something like this, which is very thin at one end, and that's exactly what we want for a floral pattern brush. That is, it should be thin from one end and thick from the other. Then grab onto your selection tool and just select this shape. Then grab onto your direct selection tool and make a selection for these 2 points. Now pressing on the shift key, just drag it towards the right. Somewhat like this. And this is exactly the shape that I wanted for my brush. Now if you want, you can just press on the shift and alt key to decrease its width a little bit. Now I have resized my brush to look somewhat like this, and I'm pretty happy with my shape. Now once you have created your base shape, what you are going to do is just add it to a brush. For that, go to Windows and here you will find an option called brushes. So just click on it. Now drag your shape into the brush panel, and as soon as you do that, you will find that a new menu has been opened in front of you. So just click on Art Brush and select OK. Then rename it as Floral. And rest of the settings you can just keep the same. Then click on OK. Now you can see that in the brush panel your floral has been added. So what you are going to do is just delete this shape, and now we are going to make use of this floral as a brush stroke. So for that we are going to use our paintbrush tool. So just click onto your paintbrush tool and make sure that your floral is selected from the brush panel, and then just make any pattern that you want like this. So that kind of distorted, but you got to make a pattern out of it. So this is a kind of a pattern that I have created and I'm happy with it. And that's exactly the use of the brush tool. Now you can easily create any kind of a floral pattern that you like. And that's how you can create a custom brush stroke in Adobe Illustrator. Now since I have made a mistake over here, so you can just press Ctrl Z to undo it, and you can create any pattern that you want. For any of the manipulations, if you want, you can just easily do it on this pattern itself. So first of all, you got to complete your drawing like this. Now if you want, you can just rearrange its position like this. Or if you want, making use of the direct selection tool, you can also just change some of its points like this. Or if you want, you can also just add new strokes to it like this. Now if you want, you can also just select one of these strokes. Suppose I have selected this stroke. Then you can just close this brush panel, and you can decrease or increase the width of this stroke as per your wish. As I have kept 0.5 as this stroke's width, and others have been kept at 1, and its width also I have kept at 0.5, and its width also at 0.5. So this is what pattern that we have created. Now what you can do is just select all of them together and press Ctrl G to group them. Now what we are going to do is make a symbol out of this pattern. So to make a symbol, what you got to do is just again go to the Windows. Here again select this brushes panel, and when this brushes panel is opened, you will find that a symbols panel is also present over here. Now the same steps that you followed in the brushes, you got to follow for the symbols as well. Now this is the pattern or a symbol. So what we are going to do is just drag it to the symbols panel, and this menu will again be shown. Now just rename it as floral pattern or a floral symbol. And the rest of the settings you can just keep the same, except for the thing that just change the symbol type to a static symbol and press OK. Now when you do, you can see that this symbol is being created over here along with the others. Now how can we use that? You can just delete this shape, and to use the symbol, what we got to do is just select the symbol sprayer tool from our toolbox. Make sure that your symbol, floral symbol, is selected, and just click on anywhere where you want your symbol to occur. Now since we have clicked on the static symbol, so the dimensions that we used while creating the symbol, the same dimensions are being used here as well. So to manipulate them, what we can do is just create a smaller version of this symbol and again follow the same procedure, that is drag it over here and rename it again as floral, and again select a static symbol, press OK. Now you can see that a new symbol is created with floral, and this floral symbol we got to delete it. So just select it, and here you will find an option called delete. So you can just delete your symbol from here. But before that, you got to just delete any of the instances that you have created with this symbol, and then just click on delete and select yes. So now this is the new symbol that we have created, and again grab onto the symbol sprayer tool and spray the symbol as many times as you want and at as many places as you wish. So this is it. We are going to create a vector like this one. So this is a basic ribbon vector, and it can be effectively used in the designing of invitation cards and related graphics. As you can see that this is a banner which is displaying some message or some text which you can add as per your choice. So it is going to be looking appealing to the audiences. So without taking much of your time, let's start with our tutorial. So first of all, go to File and click on New to create a new artboard for yourself. And as usual, I'm choosing 1000 pixels wide and 1000 pixels in height of my artboard, and I'm going to rename it as banner vector. The rest of the settings you can keep the same and then click on create. Now as soon as you get your artboard, just press Ctrl 0 to make sure that your artboard fits your area of visibility perfectly. Now to make a banner like this one depicted in our sample animation over here, what we got to do is first of all go to the toolbar and grab onto a rectangle tool. Then draw a rectangle in width like this. Now once you are happy with the rectangle's height and the width, then what you got to do is make sure that its stroke is set to a none and its fill you got to set to any color of your choice. As of now I'm going to choose a blue for this fill. So the fill is blue and the stroke which was set as white, I'm setting it again as none. So this is going to be the main ribbon of my banner, like this one over here where the text would be visible. The next thing I'm going to do is show the background of this banner, which is these two things. One is this and this. So for that what we are going to do is just click on this rectangle that we have created, copy it using Ctrl C and then just paste it in the same place using the shortcut Ctrl Shift and V. Then drag this newly formed rectangle to the bottom like this and just decrease it in width to around this much. Now once you have got it, you can just zoom it so that you can get a better view of this particular shape. Then what you got to do is go to your pen tool, right click over this small arrow and here you will find an add anchor point tool. So just click on it and just drag this add anchor point tool to a point at the center of this particular shape and make sure when you go to view and turn on your smart guides, then you can just see that these smart guides are visible all over the place. So just click over here with the add anchor point tool, then go to the direct selection tool and select this point and just drag it inwards like this. Now when you do that, you will see that this kind of a ribbon has been created and that's exactly what we wanted. Now you can come back to the default zoom percentage by again pressing Ctrl and 0. Now I'm just going to decrease the width of this rectangle by pressing on the shift key. So yes, I have decreased the width of this rectangle and this is the width that I think will suit perfectly as per my requirements. So I have kept it and now what I'm going to do is just drag this tiny shape over here like this. What you got to do is make sure that it is in perfect alignment with our big rectangle ribbon and looks good. Then what you got to do is just right click, go to arrange and click on send to back. Now in order to see that what we have created, we can just change its color to anything else, like I have chosen this darker shade of blue. So you can see that what we have created over here. Now what we are going to do is just click on this rectangle, go to object. Here you will find an option of envelope distort and here you can just find make with warp. So just click on it and as soon as you do that, you will see that your rectangle has been rotated in the form of an arc. So you can select different styles from here like lower arc, upper arc or a bulge and many things like that, or even a flag. So what we are going to do is select arc and the bend percentage can be increased to increase the area of the arc or decreased in negatives to just invert its position. So what I'm going to do is just keep it as a nice 20% value and then press OK. The same thing I'm going to do with this smaller shape as well, that is go to Object, Envelope Distort, Make with Warp, and the rest of the settings I'm going to keep same and press OK. Now when you do that, you will see that this particular rectangle shape has been divided into 3 shapes, which is not what we want. So to remove it, what we got to do is make sure that your shape is selected. Again go to Object, and here you will find an option called Expand. So just click on it. Here you will find this menu in front of you. You do not need to make any changes. Just click on OK. And you will see that now it has been converted into the shape, into a whole shape. And that's exactly what we wanted. Similarly, we got to do the same thing with this as well. Go to Object and click on Expand, then click on OK. Now what we got to do is zoom in a little bit. Grab onto our pen tool by right clicking on this small arrow and just grab onto our pen tool and make a shape like this. Now what you need to do is make it align with this particular shape. So what we are going to do first of all is just change its color. So for that, grab onto the direct selection tool and just drag this upper anchor point to something like this. Now what we are going to do is just press Ctrl 0 and go on to this green shape, right click and arrange it by sending it to the back. And then you gotta group this green and this dark blue shapes together. Then just press Ctrl C to copy these shapes and Ctrl Shift V to paste them in the place. Now what we gotta do is just grab onto this reflection tool or the reflect tool and holding onto the shift key, just reflect it by 90 degrees. Then just drag it to around here. Right click and arrange it by sending it to the back. And then you got to adjust its position. So if you want, you can just zoom in a little bit. Now once you are happy, you can just press Ctrl 0 to come to the default zoom percentage, and now you can just ungroup them so that we can just color them individually. Select the same color as that of our banner. Then open up this color palette and choose a darker shade of blue like this. And as this ribbon is concerned, the same procedure needs to be followed for this as well. A slightly darker shade as that of our banner. Now our banner has been complete, and if you want, you can also add some text to it. To add the text, you can just go to the text tool, click anywhere, and you can just increase its size to 100 points. Now you can just type in any text that you want. I'm typing a simple welcome. Then you got to align your text along with this ribbon. Now what you got to do is right click on this text and click on create outlines so that it would be converted into an object. Then go to Object, Envelope Distort and select on Make with Warp and just keep on these settings. Click OK. Then again go to Object and click on Expand and again select OK. Now you can just align this text along with the ribbon. So this is what we have created. We are going to see something interesting. In a variety of places, you all must have seen this kind of text, in which whatever the text is written, it is resembling a shape. So here we have created a text that is reading circle shape, and in totality this text is in a form of a circle. So this is a pretty interesting effect and it can be very easily created in Adobe Illustrator. Now once you have created this text, it is very easily used in a variety of places. So without taking much of your time, let us divulge into our tutorial and see that how can we create this. So first of all, for this effect, what do you need to do is just go to File and create a new artboard for yourself in Adobe Illustrator. Now as usual, I'm using a custom 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels artboard and I'm going to rename it as Mesh. Click on Create. This will help you in creating a new artboard. Now just adjust its zoom percentage by pressing Ctrl 0 on your keyboard. Now what you got to do first of all is get a background for your text. So for that what we are going to do is just go to this Ellipse tool and just right click on this small arrow over here. Now just select on this rectangle tool and draw a square or a rectangle that is totally covering your area of the artboard. Now you gotta just change its color to anything that you want. So for that just double click over here and choose a desired color for yourself. I'm choosing this kind of a blue background and click OK. Now what do you need to do is just go to its stroke and set it to none because we do not want any stroke for this particular shape and this would be acting as our background. So just go to the layer area and open it up and just lock this layer. Now we are going to just add our text over here, but that is going to be added in a new layer. So just go to here in the layer area and here you will find an option of create new layer. So just click on it and a new layer would be created for yourself. Now once you have created your new layer, just go to your type tool and this would be our text layer. So just click anywhere and type in any text that you want to be visible in your area of view. So as our sample animation was concerned, I am just typing in circle shape. Then you can just change the font of your text to a Gotham, and if you want you can just get a Gotham Ultra for yourself and increase its size as well. I'm keeping a 72 pointer, or for more I'm just keeping a 100 pointer size, but that is totally up to you and your requirements. Then what we are going to do is, for our reference, just draw a circle shape around this text so that we can know that what is the kind of the reference that we are going to align this shape to. So for that just right click, go to this ellipse tool and draw a perfect circle by pressing on the shift key. Now just reverse its stroke and fill options. Alright, now what you can do is just select this ellipse once again and increase its stroke width a little bit to around a 5 pointer so that it is easily visible to you. Now you can just go to your text layer and increase its size as well. Find a perfect dimensions for your text that completely fits your circle shape. Then what you got to do is select your text over here, right click, and here you will find an option of create outlines. So just click on it and from that you will see that your text is now being converted into shapes. So now your text would be treated as shapes instead of a text in Adobe Illustrator, and that's exactly what we wanted for this. So just right click and ungroup your text. Now what we are going to do is just select this circle together and group it together. So just select this circle together and press Ctrl G to group it together. So now it has been grouped together. Now same thing for the shape. Just select all these letters and press Ctrl G to group them together. And now you can just arrange its shape so that it is as per your choice. Now once you are happy with the shape of the circle of the text along with its position inside the circle, all you got to do is just select this group, go to Object. Here you will find an option of Envelope Distort, and in this there would be a sub option of Make with Mesh. Just click on it and make sure that the preview is turned on and change the number of rows and number of columns to a 3 and a 3. So when you do that, you can see that your text has been divided into 3 rows and 3 columns. Then press OK. The same thing you got to do with the shape text as well. So click on it, go to Object, then go to Envelope Distort and select on Make with Mesh, and make sure that the preview is turned on and choose the number of rows and columns as 3 and 3 and click OK. Now what you got to do is just zoom in into your artboard a little bit, and you will find that you have these kind of anchor points in front of you. So in order to use these anchor points, go to the direct selection tool over here, and you would be able to select these anchor points one by one. So just select this anchor point, and using it you can just drive the shape of your text like this. So that's exactly what our purpose over here is going to be. That is, we got to drag these anchor points and make it resemble the shape of the circle that we have used as our reference point over here. So now once you have adjusted your text as per your shape, what you got to do is just go back to your simple selection tool and just delete this ellipse shape. And this is the text that we have got, and as you can see that it resembles the shape of the circle even when the circle has been deleted. Now what you got to do is just select this text together, and to remove this mesh from the viewing area, what you got to do is go to Object, and here you will find an option of Expand. So just click on it and press OK. Now you can see that all your shapes have been again converted into only the shapes and not the mesh. Press Ctrl G to group them together, and then make sure they are selected. Go to Effect. Here you will find an option of Stylize, and here you will find an option of Drop Shadow. So just select this Drop Shadow, make sure that the preview is turned on, and apply a slight shadow to this shape. So these are the default settings, and I'm just going to keep these settings only and press OK. So that is all. We are going to see that how can we create this kind of a line text effect in Adobe Illustrator. So in this effect, you can easily see that the text which is reading lines is composed of the different lines, and this is exactly what we are going to create today. You can see that this text is looking pretty cool and it is appealing. So when you are using this text in any of your graphics, it is definite that it is going to catch some of the users' attention. So first of all, what do we need to do is just open our Adobe Illustrator, and then you got to go to File and click on New. This will help you to create a new artboard. And as usual, I am using a customized 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels artboard, and I am going to rename it as Lines. Now for this, what I have done is just go to Windows and select on Workspace, and I have chosen an automation workspace. Why? Because we are going to use some of these features which are easily available in this automation workspace. First of all, grab onto the text tool and type in any text that you want to be composed of the lines. In our sample animation, we used the text lines. So here we are going to use some other text. I'm just going to type a simple sample over here. Then with the help of the text tool, just select all your text and change its font type to a Gotham Ultra, and also change its size to 100 pointer. And if you want, you can always increase its size using the normal selection tool as well. Grab onto my text tool again, select all the text and just change its color to something else. Okay, so this is the green color that I'm happy with. Now what I'm going to do is just right click on my text. Here you will find an option of create outlines. So just click on it and you will see that the outlines have been created. That means that the text is now not being created as a text but as a shape or an object in Adobe Illustrator. So that's exactly what we wanted. Now what I'm going to do is just set it to a side for some time and just grab onto my ellipse tool. If you cannot find your ellipse tool over here, just right click on this small arrow and select the ellipse tool. Then just click anywhere and change the width and the height of your ellipse tool to a 50-50 and press OK. Then just reverse its dimensions. That means we do not need any fill, and a stroke we need of a black color. So just select on this black color, and the stroke width you can increase to a 3-pointer so that it is visible to the eyes. Then just select the circle, press Ctrl C to copy it, and then Ctrl Shift V to paste it in the place. And then you gotta increase its dimensions a little bit by pressing on the Shift and the Alt key. So these are the dimensions of the circle that I'm happy with. Then what you gotta do is just select both of these circles and just decrease its stroke width back to a 1-pointer. Then again select both of them. Go to Object. Here you will find an option of Blend. So just click on it, and here you will find an option of Make. So just select this Make, and when you do that, this kind of output would be seen. So we are going to manipulate it. So for that, what we are going to do is make sure that your selection is over here. Just go back to your toolbar, and here you will find a blend tool. So just double click on it. Make sure that the spacing is set to specified steps and change the number to a 50. Now what you gotta do is just drag your sample text over here like this and arrange it so that it is on the front. Now what we are going to do is just select all these circles, go to Object, and here you will find an option of Expand. So just click on it, and keeping all the settings as same, click on OK. Now all these circles are available for selection like this. Then what you gotta do is just select all of them together. Then go to Windows. Here you will find an option of Pathfinder. Just click on it. So this Pathfinder tab will open, and in Pathfinder you will find an option of outline. So just click on it. And as soon as you do that, you can see that this is the kind of the output that we have got. So if we just zoom in into our artboard a little bit, so you can see that this is what we have got. But still the circles are available for selection, which is what we do not want. So just right click and select Ungroup. And now you can see that the single lines are available for selection. So just select a single line, and here you will find an option of Select Similar Objects. And this is exactly why we chose our automation workspace. Just click on it and all the similar lines would be selected. Then press Ctrl X to just cut them out. Then press Ctrl 0 to just come back to the default zoom percentage. Press Ctrl Y to just view all the outlines over here. Then select them all and delete them. Then again press Ctrl Y to come back to this area, and press Ctrl V to just paste our text which we had cutted before. Then just zoom in a little bit and select some of these lines, like select this line, and we are going to manipulate it a little bit. So what we are going to do now is just select some of these lines together, and I'm just going to increase its stroke width to around a 3-pointer, and just click on this word stroke. Here you will find an option of round join or a bevel join. So I'm just going to select this round join option and along with a round cap. Now if you could just zoom in, you can see that these lines have been created like this, and that's exactly what we got to do with all of our other lines as well. So now once you have created or applied this effect to all of your lines, you can just press Ctrl 0 and see your output like this. So that is all. Ctrl 0 and see your output like this. So that is all. We are going to see a cool looking 3D text effect in Adobe Illustrator. So this is the 3D text that we are going to create today in Adobe Illustrator, and as you can see, it looks pretty interesting, and let me tell you that it is very simple to create. In 10 minutes you would be able to generate a similar effect for yourself. And apart from that, in this tutorial we are going to understand the usage of the blend tool along with our new tool from the toolbox, that is the pencil tool. So first of all, in our tutorial, what do we need to do is just go to file and click on new as usual to create a new artboard for ourselves, and this time I'm going to use a 1000 pixels height, but the width I'm going to choose at a 5000 pixels cause we need a wide artboard for this, and I'm going to just rename it as a 3D text, but it's totally up to you and you can just rename it to anything that you want. And you must have noticed that its orientation has been changed to landscape. So that is cause we have kept a width more than the height, and the rest of the settings I'm just going to keep same and click on create. So a new artboard is created, then press Ctrl 0 to make sure that it fits your area of visibility. Now what I'm going to do is just grab onto my artboard tool and increase its height a little bit. Now once you have created this, then just go back to this toolbox, to this tool, right click on this arrow and select the rectangle tool. Now just draw a rectangle that is covering whole of your artboard, and just change its color to a pure black. Then what you are going to do is just go back to this layer panel, and from here just click on create new layer to create a new layer. Then just grab onto this pencil tool. If you cannot find the pencil tool over here, then you can see shaper tool in front of you. So just right click on this small arrow on the shaper tool, and here you will find this pencil tool. Once you have got your pencil tool, just double click on it and this kind of a menu will occur in front of you. In this menu you got to make some changes. So what you are going to do is, you must have seen that your fidelity is something over here. So just drag it and keep it to 100% smooth. So this is exactly what we want, and press OK. Now you will see that a pencil tool is in front of you. Now using this pencil tool, what we are going to do is just write any text that we want to be converted into a 3D text. So in our sample, as you can see, we have written smile. So that's exactly what we are going to do, and write smile again over here only. So just write it like this, and after conversion you can see that it has converted it into something like this, and that's exactly the reason we kept our fidelity at smooth. Now grab onto the direct selection tool, and you can just play with these anchor points, but before that you make sure that you must lock this rectangle layer over here, and then just move these anchor points a little bit so as to get a desired shape for yourself. But if you find it difficulty in moving, then you can just delete whole of this text and again try it. So what is our basic motivation over here is to make sure that these
all letters are at sufficient distance from one another so that the end result would not be too messy when we are converting it into a 3D text like this. So here you can see that I have kept this kind of a distance between my letters, and that is exactly the reason we wanted a white artboard for our this graphic. Now once you are happy with the outlines of your text, what you got to do is start with the procedure of converting it to a gradient or the 3D text. So for that, what we are going to do first of all is create a gradient that is going to be applied to our text. So in our sample we applied a pink and a yellow gradient. So I'm just going to use different colors this time. So for that, what do we need to do is just right click on this arrow in the rectangle tool and grab on to our ellipse tool. Then make a small circle by pressing on the shift key. Now once you are happy with your circle, just apply some gradient to it. Now just double click on this gradient slider and choose two colors that you think are fit. So I have chosen these two colors and I'm just going to reverse them so that the blue is over here and the yellow is over here, and then I'm going to just move this gradient slider a little bit like this so that there is more of a blue shade and lesser of a yellow shade over here. So once you are happy with your gradient, what you got to do is just select on this circle and pressing on the shift and alt key, just drag it towards the right side. This will help you create a similar copy of this particular circle. Then just select both of them, go to object. Here you will find an option of blend, and on clicking on blend you will find an option of make. So just click on it and you can see that some of these circles have been created like this. Now just select on this and shift and select on the text outlines that you have already created like this. Then go to object, again go to blend, and this time you will find an option called replace spine. Just click on it. So you can see that your text has been converted into something like this. But the thing that I told you about was like this. Here you can see that the letter E and the letter L are not visible at all as they have been distorted by the shape of the ellipse. So what we are going to do is just press Ctrl Z and just select on this ellipse and just decrease it in the length like this. And then again select all of these together, go to object, blend, and select on replace spine. And now you can see that this E is somewhat looking good, but still there is a lot of distortion. So again what you got to do is press Ctrl Z and just decrease the size of the ellipses. So I'm again going to just decrease their size like this. And then select everything again, go to object, blend, and replace spine. This time as you can see that this shape is being converted into something looking good and interesting, and that's exactly what we wanted. But one thing you can still notice is that this dot of the eye is not here. So what we are going to do is just grab onto our pencil tool again and put a dot over here or something like this. Then again go to our ellipse tool and draw an ellipse like this by pressing on the shift key. Apply the same gradient to it and again pressing on the alt and the shift key, create a copy for it. Now select both of them, go to Object and blend them by clicking on Make. Now just select this along with this drop or the dot of the eye like this. Go to Object, Blend and replace Spine. Now if you want, you can just decrease its size like this only and place it over here. So this is the 3D text effect that we have created very easily in Adobe Illustrator, making use of the pencil tool and the blend tool. We are going to see that how can we create Captain America's shield in Adobe Illustrator. Now this prop is one of the widely used props and it is very simple to create, and today we are going to create Captain America's shield vector for ourselves in Adobe Illustrator. So let's start with our tutorial. First of all, once you have opened your Adobe Illustrator, press Ctrl N to open up a new artboard for yourself, and as usual choose a custom 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels. Now just press Ctrl 0 to fit it to the area of visibility. Now as you can see in the sample over here, we have used 4 circles. So first of all we would be creating these circles. So for that, just go to your rectangle tool and right click on this small arrow over here and select the ellipse tool. Now what we are going to do is just fill it with a shade of red, but that's not our final color. We are just doing it for symbolic purposes, and just change its stroke to a none. Then just create its copy by pressing Ctrl C and Ctrl Shift V to paste it in place. Then go to Object. Here you will find an option of Path. In it you will find an option of Offset Path. So just click on it and just change its value to a -25 pixels and make sure that the preview is on. So we are just going to increase it a little bit. Yes, -75 pixels is correct. So I'm just going to go with -75 pixels and then click OK. Now you gotta just fill it with a shade of white. So we're going to apply an gradient to it afterwards, but for now you can just fill it with a white color. Then again copy it using Ctrl C and paste it in place using Ctrl Shift and V. Again go to Object, Path, Offset Path, and just apply a -75 pixels. Press OK. Then this would again be colored with a red color. So just pick up an eyedropper tool. Again just press Ctrl C and Ctrl Shift V. Then again go to Object, Path, Offset Path, -75 pixels. Press OK. Now this time we are going to use a shade of a blue. So just color it with a blue color. Now this is a kind of a reference that we have got that what our shield will look like. Now if we look into our sample animation or the sample vector, then we have created a star inside this blue shape. So for that what we are going to do is just go back to our rectangle tool and just change its color to white once again. And then we are just going to draw a rectangle like this. Now we are going to make it look like a square or a star. So for that just grab onto the pen tool, right click and go to an add anchor point tool and add an anchor point over here. Then just add an anchor point over here as well. Now just right click and go to the delete anchor point tool. Now delete these 2 anchor points like this. And grab onto your direct selection tool and just change the position of this anchor point to something around here. Now for these two remaining shapes, similar thing has to be done. That is, draw a rectangle like this. Now again grab onto your rectangle tool and draw a rectangle like this. And grab onto the delete anchor point tool, delete one of its anchor points, just change its color to white. And grabbing onto the direct selection tool, just change its position to around here. And if you want, you can also just zoom in a little bit so as to get a better view of your end product. And then using the reflection tool, you can just change its reflection like this, and just change its position as well. So now this is the shape of the star that I'm happy with. Now what we are going to do is apply some gradient to it. So just go on to this gradient tab and change its type to a radial gradient. And instead of black color, I'm just going to choose a shade of gray like this. And now what I'm going to do is just ungroup it once and just select these both shapes. Then go to Windows, and here you will find an option of Pathfinder, and then just click on Unite. So these would be united together and that would be the final product. Now what I'm going to do is just manipulate it a little bit. So I'm going to choose this shade of a gray with a white, and the gradient slider would be placed around here. Yes, so I'm pretty happy with it. And as the blue color is concerned, again for this we are going to apply some gradient. So just select on this gradient, and now we are going to choose the shades of blue for the purpose of gradients. Similarly for the red color as well, just apply a gradient to it, and this time two shades of red would be chosen. So a darker red and a lighter red. And as this red is concerned, we can just grab onto our eyedropper tool and just change its shade to something like this. And as this white is concerned, I'm just going to apply a gradient to it as well. So I have chosen the same gradient as that of the star that we had created earlier, but I'm just going to manipulate it somewhat, and then just increase the area of this white around here, and just choose a lighter shade of gray for it. Yes, so that looks good to me. Grab onto your pen tool again and just draw these kind of vectors that are tracing roughly the shapes of these stars, and it's kind of a shadow effect that is being added. Instead of the gradient, just apply a single color to it. Now, as the color is concerned, we are just going to choose a shade of black, that is some kind of a grayish color to it, like this. Then we are just going to play with its opacity values a little bit. So just go to appearance. Here you will find an option of fill, and here you can just click on opacity and decrease its opacity to around an 8%. Alright, now this looks good to me. And similarly, using the same pen tool, I'm just going to add another shape over here like this with the same specifics, again around like this. And similarly, its opacity also, I'm just going to decrease to around a 5 or 6 like this. So that is how you can create Captain America's shield very easily in Adobe Illustrator.
We are going to see that how can we create Iron Man's mask in Adobe Illustrator. So in this tutorial, we are going to see that how can we create a vector for Iron Man's mask in Adobe Illustrator. And when following this tutorial, what I have done is used a very simple method so that all of the beginners who are using this tutorial can easily create one Iron Man mask vector for themselves very easily in Adobe Illustrator. So for that, what do you need to do is first of all get an image of an Iron Man mask like this one for yourself, and please remember to make sure to download a vector image like this. So one more thing, if you want this same image for yourself, then I will share its download link in the description. So you can just get this image for yourself. Then when you have got your image, you can just open it up in Adobe Illustrator. And once you have opened up your image, what you got to do is just go to this layers area and make sure to lock your image like this. Just click over here and a lock sign will appear, so you won't be able to move your image here and there. Then from here, just create a new layer and then grab onto the pen tool. Then just go to view and make sure that your smart guides is turned on. Then what you are going to do is just select a point where you think is the midpoint of this Iron Man mask. Just click on it and begin tracing your image as precisely as possible. If needed, you can also zoom in into your image a little bit to make sure to get the most precise view for yourself, and then just trace in at all these points like this. Now this is the reason why we chose smart guides, cause it told us where exactly our intersecting point is lying. Then once you have covered one shape, then you can just continue with the other shape as well. If you want, you can just get rid of the fill to make sure that you get the precise boundaries for yourself. And once you have completed the tracing, make sure to fill it again and then start with the next shape. Again, just change its fill to a none and complete this fill shape and change its fill back to a solid color, and then continue with this last shape. Now once you have completed all of your shapes, you can just review your shapes all together. so that any changes if you want to make, you can make them very easily, like over here. So just grab onto the direct selection tool so that you can manipulate the single anchor points instead of the whole shape to adjust its settings like this. Okay, so far so good, and that looks amazing like this. Yeah, now what we're going to do is just select all of these shapes together by pressing on the shift key, and then I'm just going to group them together. So right click, and here you will find an option of group, so just group them. Then just press Ctrl C to copy them and Ctrl Shift V to paste it in place. Then go to the toolbar. Here you will find an option of reflect tool. Just click on it and reflect on this shape by pressing on the shift key. This will help you get a straight reflection or an inverted reflection for your shape, and then drag it like this so that your two shapes are somewhat looking like this. Now this is what we have got as a vector of the Iron Man mask. Now what we are going to do is just select both of these portions, go to Windows. Here you will find an option of Pathfinder. Just select on it, and in Pathfinder there is an option of Unite, so just click on it. Now once you have do that, it's time to color it. So for that, what we have done is we have created a square with these two hexadecimal values, and these are the exact two values that our Iron Man mask is composed of. So we are going to color it with these two values, and if you want, you can just copy these values from here. Then you can just select your shape, grab on the color picker tool and pick this color. So when you do that, you will see that your shape is converted into something like this. And then we are just going to delete this image from the background. Then we are going to cover our background with this color. So for that, just grab onto the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle covering whole of your background area, and then grab on the color picker tool and just pick this red color. So this is the kind of the final vector that we have got. And then what you can do is just select on this mask and change its stroke to a none so that it looks more defined now. So that is all. In today's Adobe Illustrator tutorials video, we are going to see that how can we create or convert any image that is available to us into a vector in Adobe Illustrator. So once our image is being converted into a vector, then we can easily use it for any purpose that we want very easily in Adobe Illustrator. And that's exactly that what we are going to see today. So in today's tutorial, we are going to look at two different kinds of images. One is a natural image, which is basically a picture or a photograph. This is the kind of the scenery that we have got. And first of all, we are converting it into the vector. And then using the same procedure, we have got this kind of an image, which we are going to convert into a vector. Now, instead of a natural scenery that I have used over here, what you can do is just take a snap or a picture of yourself, and then you can also convert it into a vector very easily. And the steps that you need to follow are going to be exact same for all of the images that you are going to use, with a slight difference between the natural images and the vectors. So that is the reason I have chosen the natural images as well and the vectors as well. So without taking much of your time, let us jump into our tutorial and see that what steps we need to follow. So first of all, what you need to do is get an image for yourself, and as this image is concerned, I have downloaded it from the internet. So if you want the same image, I will share its download link in the description. But if you want, you can just choose any image for yourself. It can be any picture of a scenery or your picture as well. It really doesn't matter. Then what we are going to do is just once you have got your picture, then you can just open any picture in Adobe Illustrator very easily. What you can do is just go to File, and here you will find an option of Open. Then once you have opened your image in Adobe Illustrator, then what we are going to do is just drag it to the sideways like this. Then just go to Window. Here you will find an option of Image Trace. So just select on this option, and now you can just dock this tab just beside your image, and here we are going to make a few changes. But before making any changes, make sure that the preview is turned on, and as soon as you do that, you will see that your image is converted into something like this. This is nothing but a black and white version of your image. So to get rid of it, what we are going to do is first of all change the preset from default to a high fidelity photo, and then it may take some time like this. A progress menu would be shown. And after some time you will see that this is the result that you have got, and this is nothing but the result of the tracing that you have got. And if you want, you can just change your view from tracing result to tracing result with outlines, and as soon as you do that, you can see all these kind of outlines. So these outlines are actually the vectors that the Adobe Illustrator image trace option has created out of the image that you provided it to. And then you can just change the colors to a full 100. Then again it may take some time, but this time totally depends upon. And once it's done, you can also change your mode from color to a grayscale. It will help you generate a black and white version of your photo. Now if you just click on the tracing result, then you can see that this is the black and white version of the photo that you have got, and this is some of the information that is being shown over here, which is the number of the paths that the image trace option has created, its anchors, and how much colors it has used. Now if you want, you can also increase the amount of grays to 100 over here, and this will help you in generating a more detailed grayscale version of your photo. And once you have got a final result for yourself, then you can see that the number of the colors has increased to 244, and this is what we have got. So this is how you can just trace your image using the image trace option and change it to a vector in Adobe Illustrator. Now this was a natural image. What if we get something like this in front of us? Now in this image you can see that these different shapes are available to us, and when we trace this image, our goal is that we would be able to edit these shapes individually. So for that we are going to just apply the same image trace to it, but we are going to make some changes. So what we are going to do is just first change its view to tracing result with outlines, and when you do that, you can see these kind of the outlines created, but I don't want them because I just want these vectors or these shapes to be outlined. So for that, what I'm going to do is change its type from a high fidelity photo to 3 colors. And when you do that, you can see that only the shapes have been outlined like this. Also the number of the colors used are 3, but I just want 2 colors, which is one basically the red background, and the second which is the black or the brown color with which the shapes have been highlighted. So I'm just going to change the number of colors to 2, and now you can see that a more detailed outlining is being shown over here. And you can only see all these things if your preview is turned on, so make sure to turn the preview on. And if you want, you can also go to these advanced options, and these advanced options will help you to increase the number of paths or decrease it, that is adjust the paths fitting. Suppose I do it to 100%, then what will happen? It will organize or select the precise amount of paths. Like here you can see, if we just zoom in a little bit, then here you can see that these paths are not straight, but these are somewhat shaky in appearance. This is because we have chosen a path fitting of 100%, which is the highest value, but if we choose it to be of a 10%, then you can see that this kind of distorted paths have been selected. So an ideal value for this would be a 50%, where not too much distorted or not too much defined paths would be selected, but it would be selected as which suits our needs the most. Apart from that, you can also increase the noise or reduce the noise to make sure that whatever end result that you get is the perfect that matches your requirement. So as this is concerned, I'm going to change the noise to a 1 pixel, and the corners I'm also going to reduce to a 20%. And when you do that, you will see that a more defined result is selected for yourself. Then you can just close this image trace tab, press Ctrl 0 to come back to the default zoom percentage. Now once you have traced your image, you can just drag it to the between and then go to object and click on expand and then click on OK. Then you can see that this is the kind of the result that you have got. Now you can just right click and go to ungroup. So all of your things would be ungrouped like this. Then what I'm going to do is just delete this black background, and these are the kinds of the vectors or the shapes that you have got. Now you can just select all of them and increase its size. Like this, or if you want, you can also change its color to anything that you want. It's totally up to you. Now all the manipulations that you want, you can just do it to the images. Like I can color it to pure black, and the rest of the parts as well I'm just going to color to pure black like this. And if you want, you can manipulate it to anything that you like. So that is all in today's Adobe Illustrator tutorials, in which you learn that how can you create or convert any image into a vector format. We are going to see that how can we create this cute looking little fur monster in Adobe Illustrator. So in our today's video, we are going to see that how can we create a vector version of this little fur monster very easily in Adobe Illustrator. So without taking much of your time, let us jump into our tutorial and see that what steps we need to follow to create this cute little fur monster for ourselves. So this is a very simple procedure that you need to follow. First of all, once you have opened your Adobe Illustrator, go to File and create a new artboard for yourself. Then as usual, I'm using a custom 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels artboard, and I'm going to name it as Fur Monster, but that's totally up to you, and you can name it anything that you want, and then click on create or press enter key. Once you have got an artboard for yourself, what you need to do is just grab onto this Ellipse Tool and draw a circle using this Ellipse Tool. Perfect. Now you can just make sure that its fill is set to none and the stroke is set to something like a black color, or a 1 point is perfect width for the stroke. Then just select on this shape and pressing on the Shift and the Alt key, just drag it towards the right. And the reason we are doing this is by pressing on the Alt key we can create another copy of the circle, and by pressing on the Shift key we are going to move it in a straight line. Okay, so now this is the kind of the shape that you need to get for your circles. Then once you've got this shape, you can just select both of these circles, go to Windows, and here you will find an option of Pathfinder. So just click on it, and in Pathfinder, inside the shape modes, you will find an option of intersect. So just click on it, and when you do, you will see that the area where both circles were intersecting is now visible to you, and that's the only area we are concerned with. So once you've got this area, then you can just click on it and just increase its size a little bit by pressing on the Shift and the Alt keys together. Alright, so this kind of the size is what I'm happy with, and this is going to be the base shape for our little fur monster. So you need to make sure that the dimensions of this shape are the exact dimensions of the fur monster you want for yourself. Now once you're happy with the dimensions, what you gotta do is again go to the Ellipse tool and again make a circle by pressing on the Shift key, but this time it's going to be smaller than the previous ones. Okay, so this much circle is good. Then just make sure to have no stroke for it and just fill it with a gradient. Now make sure to select a gradient so that it fits your requirements, because this is the same gradient with which our fur monster is going to be colored with. So as of now, I'm going to select a purple and a pink shade of the gradient like this, and I'm just going to adjust few of the settings like this. Stylus I'm going to set over here, and this is the color. The end result of the gradient is what I have got, and I'm pretty happy with it. But again, it's totally up to you. It's totally your choice. Whatever gradient combination you want, that's best for you. Then once you've got a perfect gradient for yourself, just create another copy of the circle by pressing on the Shift and the Alt key and dragging it towards the downside. Like this. Now once you have created the copy for the circle, then select both of them, go to Object. Here you will find an option of Blend and just click on Make. Now just double click on the Blend tool and make sure that its spacing is set to specified steps and the value of the steps is set to at least 300, and then press OK. Now once you've got that, what you gotta do is just select both of these shapes, that is these circles and then this base shape for our fur monster. Go to Object, Blend, and there you will find an option of Replace Spine. Just click on it and you will see that this kind of a shape is created, which is not very good. So for that, what we are going to do is make some adjustments. Just select on your base shape, then go to the Add Anchor Point tool and then just click over here and here to add anchor points like this. So basically you're going to just join these two parts together. So this kind of a shape would be created, and that's exactly what we wanted. This is going to be the base shape of our monster, and the effect of the color, you can see it's looking very good. Now it's time to create furs for it. So now for creating the furs, what you got to do is just click on this base shape, go to Effect. Here you will find an option of Distort and Transform. So in Distort and Transform, you will find an option of Roughen, and this is the roughen effect that we are going to apply. Just click on it and just make sure that the preview is turned on, and as soon as you do that, you can see that some kind of furs have been started to create, and just increase the value of size to a 50% and also increase the amount of detailing to a 50%. Now you can see that the furs have been created like this, and if you want, you can also change the points to smooth instead of a corner like this, or these are the values that I'm happy with, but if you want, you can just play with the values of size as per your wish, so as to get the perfect fur combination for yourself. Now I'm happy with 65% of the size, so that's what I'm going to keep. And once you're happy with all the values, you can just press OK. Now the base shape of your fur monster is created like this. You can just move it to anywhere else that you want. Now what we are going to do is add some more details to it. Now you gotta adjust it like this to the center. Then these details would be in the forms of the googly eyes and a mouth. So for the googly eyes, what you got to do is just grab onto the Ellipse Tool and change its fill to a pure white color like this and draw an ellipse. This time you need not hold on to the shift key because we do not want a perfect circle but an ellipse shape like this. And now change its color to black and then draw another ellipse for the eyeball like this. Alright, now you can just select and both the shapes and group them together by pressing on Ctrl G on the keyboard, and once it's grouped you can again duplicate it by pressing the Shift and the Alt key and drag it towards the right side for the second eye of your monster. Like this. Yeah, that looks good to me. Then we are going to add a cute little mouth for this monster, and for that what we are going to do is just grab onto this curvature tool. Now you can just increase its curvature like this. Once you are happy with it, you can just keep a black for an O-like effect, or you can color it with red, whatever you want, or whatever suits with the background of the color of the fur monster. Now this is what I'm happy with. And one more thing, if you want, you can just select on this base shape of the fur monster, then go to object and click on expand appearance. Now when you do that, this fur monster would be changed into this fur shape. Now instead of the base shape, we have this whole fur shape. Now what is the advantage of it? Once you can click on this fur shape, then go to gradient panel or the palette, and you can change its gradient to literally any other color that you want. So it would be helpful if you want to change the color of your fur monster to anything else that you want. Like I'm changing it to shades of green and yellow, and then boom, its color is changed like this. So that's all how you can create a fur monster for yourself in Adobe Illustrator, and I hope you all have enjoyed this video. For more such tutorials, keep watching the YouTube channel Programming Knowledge. Till then, goodbye.